Rory McIlroy is already assured of his place in the history of the game. And the man from Hollywood, Northern Ireland, has just become the youngest player to spend 500 weeks inside the top 10 of the world rankings. Now in his 30s, Rory's been changing things up as he goes in search of even more success. And he's been talking candidly to Iona Stephen about motivation, how he prepares for specific tournaments, and about his determination to stay at the top of the golfing tree.
This year, lowest stroke average on the PGA Tour and PGA Tour Player of the Year. Would you say it's been the best year of your career so far?
It's been the most consistent year of my career so far. I think there's been higher highs in previous years. You know, the 3 wins in a row in 14, with 2 of those being majors. You know, first major win in 11 was, you know, it's always a pretty memorable moment. But I think just consistently, you know, I think Japan was my 17th top 10 of the year, and you know, I'm very proud of that, because I think if there's ever been a criticism of my game in the past, it's been that I sort of blow hot and cold, and this year I really feel like I've found a formula that, you know, I can basically turn up most weeks and play, you know, a good level of golf.
That formula that you mentioned earlier in the year, I remember you discussing, speaking quite honestly and openly about trying to find that formula that I recall involves a little bit of mindfulness and juggling, a lot of reading. Can you tell me more about it? What's in the formula?
Something sparked my interest at the start of the year, and I've started to read a lot more, and I've started to try and learn different things from people in other walks of life. Even traveling to Japan last week, I read a book on the All Blacks called Legacy, which is about their mindset and about how they approach what they do, not just on the rugby pitch but off it, and stuff like that. That, you know, if you can take 1 or 2 things from a book that you read and try to apply it to your own life, that can help. And then, yeah, mindfulness is something that I've tried to practice a little bit of over the last couple of years. Guided meditations, juggling, just sort of these mental skills that I probably would have neglected previously, and honestly, stuff that I thought was a little stupid in the past.
We've seen a lot of you in America this year. Do you think playing more in the States has allowed you to find that consistency that you've had this year?
The reason I got to Tokyo a little early last week, obviously the World Cup was there, which was a great bonus, but I wanted to get there so that by the time Thursday rolled around, my body was in a better state. And there's a lot of, you know, biometrics that you can use now. There's so many guys on tour wearing one of these, which helps with your sleep and your recovery and telling you when you feel good or when you should train, when you shouldn't train. You know, we have so much at our disposal nowadays, and to not take advantage of that would be silly. So I think I've learned a lot about my body over the last couple of years, and know that if I am going to travel to play an event, I need to do it a certain way.
You spoke honestly about the importance of playing well for 25 weeks, or loosely 25 weeks of the year, not just 4. But do you feel for those 4 that your preparation has to be slightly different? Or what have you learned from this year?
I guess if I've learned anything, is that I've tried to treat every week the same, and some weeks aren't the same. You know, and it's just the way it is. I think the 4 major championships are the 4 biggest tests in golf, whether that's, you know, mental tests or physical tests. I think they are the most demanding of the tournaments that we play. So you do need to prepare a little bit differently. You know, we usually, you know, obviously Augusta aside, we go to golf courses that we don't play very often. You know, so a little more preparation needs to go into learning the course and what to do, instead of, you know, I've come to this course in Sheshan the last 10 years. I know it like the back of my hand. So there's different ways of doing it, but I think, you know, going back to what we talked about at the start, mentally preparing for certain things, mentally preparing myself for Augusta and everything that goes along with that, preparing myself for, you know, Portrush this year. I don't feel like I did a good job of preparing myself for how I was going to feel, because I didn't know how I was going to feel. But you get on the first tee and you're nervous, you're like, wow, this is different. So I think just a little more preparation in terms of that for those 4 weeks a year is an important thing, and something I'm going to try to do going forward.
All good learning. And just finally, Rory, Tiger Woods, big number this week, the 82. I'm just interested, how does that affect your psyche, seeing Tiger Woods achieve something like that? Does it impact you in a way where you think, right, now, you know, I want something like that in my career, and I want to have that sort of an impact? Or does it in fact intimidate you a little bit and you think, oh crikey, that's something huge?
Yeah, so I think both. You see that 82 number, and you know, I'll never get there. Right? I'm a realist, and I know that 82 PGA Tour wins is something that, in this day and age, is probably not going to be surpassed. Whatever Tiger ends up winning, whether it's 90 or 100, or you know, even you look at how fast his career progression was. At 30 years old, he had won 50 PGA Tour events. I feel like I've had a decent PGA Tour career, and I've won 17. So it's just, the numbers are so different. It motivates me. I'm like, well, if you know, it's, you know, I've played with him a lot, and he's obviously a great golfer, but I know on my day I can play just as good, or if not better. And you know, I'm never going to get to those numbers, but it motivates me to play well and play better, and to win more. And you know, I don't know what that number is, but I'm not, you know, I've always said I want to be, you know, the best player to have come from the part of the world that I come from. So whether that's, you know, best Irish player, best British player, best European player, you know, that would be a good start. And then from there, just try to go on and play the best I can. You know, it makes me excited for the next 10 years. But seeing what Tiger does, it's, you know, if it doesn't motivate you, then I think there's something wrong.